Hi everyone, Pastor Elaine again here, and I really wanted to bring up the topic of chronic inadequacy. And so typically this like unending feeling of inadequacy. And so many people have this. It's this and it's like that no matter how much positive self-talk that you give yourself, things that you read, there's this unending and seemingly unresolved feeling of inadequacy. So if you're ever put into an environment where you're expected to share something or speak about something, there's this angst, this angst about inadequacy. And what that really, the way that it's discussed often is called imposter syndrome. So a lot of you have heard of imposter syndrome, but a lot of people don't really understand what imposter syndrome is. It's really that anxiety that you have about feeling like you don't know what you're talking about, or someone's going to point out that you're not really who you say you are, or you don't really know what you say you know. So you're feeling like an imposter, like someone's going to point that out. And really, this is a problem across all spectrums of society. So I really was thinking about how to call it. It can actually be seen like a global pandemic of a different kind, of like an emotional kind, where everybody in all spectrums of society, it doesn't matter where you're at, what you're doing, could be people in business, people in the entertainment industry, even people in the ministry. They look at other people like, I'm not as good as them, and someone might point that out. And so one of the issues that I had was people would say, somewhere in the Bible it says thus and so. Oh, Elaine, do you know where that's at? And I'm like, I'm really bad at locating. I can tell you what is in the Bible, but I can't tell you where it's at. So I'd have like real inadequacy issues about that. And so people are actually afraid to be authentic. So the worst part about this is that it keeps you from believing truth, even when you have proof. So if somebody comes up to you and says, wow, you're really smart, that inadequacy inside of you doubt that. So you actually doubt truth, even when there's proof. Even when somebody comes and says, hey, look at this. And so I asked a client one time, I'm like, what would your friend say about you? They'll always say this, and this, but they couldn't say it about themselves. And I'd say, well, are your friends liars? And they're like, no. And I'm like, so then is it true about you? And it was so hard. It was so hard for them to admit the truth about some of the positive things that are about who they are. And so what is some resolution? What is a resolution? So one of the resolutions and people will tell me all the time, you make it sound so simple, because it is. It's super simple resolution. It's hard to employ, but it's a super simple resolution. So the super simple resolution is to choose to believe. And I wrote 4 things. No one is born with low self-esteem. If you choose to believe that no one is born with low self-esteem, then that's your first step to be able to say, okay, my inadequacy, I wasn't born with that. When you can just really wrap your mind around that, that's your first resolution. The second one is someone gave it to you. Someone gave you this belief, this negative belief, and you have to figure out where that it came from. Where did that come from? And then choose to believe rational truth. Okay, so if I have 17 friends that all tell me that I'm awesome, and I can't believe that I'm awesome, rationally, what should I believe? And then 4th, choose beliefs based on feelings is not a good idea. Okay? Choosing to believe things based on feelings is not a good idea. So I teach people how to create an I'm done blank. Fill in the blank. I'm done with imposter syndrome. I'm done with self-sabotage. I'm done with feeling I'm less than. I'm done with unworthiness. I'm done with giving my identity away to other people. Make an I'm done with statement. So those are 4 resolutions. And so I was raised by a child molester. And when the opportunity came up for that to be revealed, he lied, right? So what I started doing was believing a lie about my value and about the value of my message. So I believed the lie that he told. And I believe that my authentic self has no value, right? So my mom brought it up and I tried to speak up and say, hey, this is what's going on. And he lied about it. So then my authentic self, my voice, who I am, has no value because she didn't follow up on it. He kept doing it. And so the lie that I believed is that my authentic self has no value. And so over the years, what it's been exposed to me, revealed to me, is identity. So my identity, who I am, my perception of myself was abused. So identity abuse. And I tell people, type that in. So if you're watching this and watching it on replay, type in identity abuse and write that down somewhere. And all of my clients use sticky notes. And if those words don't help you, they will help somebody else. When they understand that their identity is being abused or was abused at some point in time, and every time you write it or you speak it out loud, it'll remind yourself again that your identity has value. Yes, Beth, thank you. That your identity has value and it can be abused. And when your identity is abused, then you end up with low self-esteem. So you weren't born that way, but your identity was abused. So discovering that. And so I believed it because it felt true, right? I believed this lie because it felt true, not because it was true. And so now my passion is to empower your authentic self to speak the truth with joy-filled confidence. So to empower your authentic self to speak truth with joy-filled confidence. And I do this by offering free Crush Self strategy sessions, and I have individual coaching and group learning and all sorts of other stuff. And so I wanted to really let everybody know nobody ever, ever, ever needs to suffer with imposter syndrome ever again. So please pass the word along. I love you guys, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.